The story begins with Mike free climbing a rock wall without any safety gear. He manages to complete the climb successfully. In the next scene, we see him visiting a psychiatrist. Mike tells her about climbing without any support, and she warns him that he shouldn't be doing such dangerous things. His mental state still isn't stable. But Mike insists he's perfectly fine. Years ago, his younger brother died in an accident. Mike was deeply traumatized by that loss. Because of this unresolved trauma, his doctor advised him to attend therapy sessions. But Mike believes he's strong and doesn't need any help. Meanwhile, miles away in Nepal, we see a deadly mountain road. A bus is traveling along a narrow one-way route. Suddenly, a truck approaches from the opposite direction. The bus driver asks the truck driver to reverse, but instead, the truck driver pushes forward aggressively, forcing the bus toward the edge. One of the bus's tires slips, and the entire bus falls into the deep valley below, killing every passenger inside. During this tragic incident, we see a mysterious man speaking on a phone call, which means it was all part of a planned operation. Back with Mike, he's going through the last belongings of his brother when he finds a note. It says that if he ever dies, he wants his ashes to be scattered in the Himalayas. Reading this, Mike immediately books a flight to Kathmandu. Now we meet a man named Rudra. He is telling the local citizens that he plans to work with the government to build a huge dam in the area. But for that to happen, the locals strongly disagree. They refuse to give up their land. To calm the angry locals, a man named Roy arrives. He is well respected and has always helped the community. Roy explains that building the dam will bring electricity to every home and improve their lives in many ways. He says the land and the river are sacred to them, and because of that, they should protect it properly. He promises that no one will be harmed and that he will personally take responsibility for everything. Hearing this, the locals reluctantly agree. Just then, Ganesh's son runs toward them, crying, and informs everyone that his grandfather's bus has fallen into the valley and he has died. Roy immediately stops his speech, shocked by the tragic news. Meanwhile, Mike is already on his plane. Even now, he can't stop remembering his last moments with his younger brother, the goodbye he never wanted. His brother served in the military and always dreamed of visiting the Himalayas. But before he ever got the chance, he was shot during a mission. Although he survived the injury at first, he passed away a few days later, leaving his dream unfinished. Now, Mike is traveling to fulfill that dream for him. Once he lands in Nepal, Mike meets a girl named Donnie who will be his guide. She tells him many things about Nepal as they board a bus heading closer to the Mount Everest region. The bus is full of other travelers, all excited to trek the Himalayas. On the bus, Donnie gets into an argument with another girl who shoves her bag to the floor. The girl's father, known as Professor, quickly apologizes on her behalf and ends the argument peacefully. We also meet Vijay, Roy's son. He receives a phone call from his father, telling him to get far away immediately. Roy warns that the people who oppose the dam project are now targeting them and killing anyone involved. Vijay panics and jumps onto the same Everest-bound bus. But he doesn't realize that a woman named Sani and her group are watching him closely. They follow him onto the bus, and within minutes, they take full control of it. All passengers are held hostage, and Sani orders everyone to throw their phones out of the windows. Sani forces the driver at gunpoint to turn the bus down a different road. Terrified, the driver obeys. Donnie thinks these must be local criminals, so she whispers to Mike that they need to do something before it gets worse. Carefully scanning the bus, Donnie spots a maintenance hole in the floor. She pushes a rod into it, causing one of the tires to deflate. Suddenly, Mike switches his seat, creating a distraction. The situation on the bus starts to get tense, and Sani senses something is wrong. She warns her gang to stay alert. But before they react, Donnie attacks Sani, and Mike takes down one of Sani's men. Sani starts overpowering Donnie, but Mike steps in and knocks Sani unconscious. Because of the blown tire and the chaos, the bus spins out of control and ends up hanging halfway over the edge of a deep cliff. Everyone carefully climbs out to safety. Mike then notices his brother's ashes container still inside the bus. He climbs back and carefully retrieves it. He refuses to leave it behind. Once they're all out, they notice police officers arriving. But something about their presence feels off. The officer inspects the scene and arrests Sani. Vijay is unconscious, so the police take him to a nearby house. And strangely, they lock all the doors and windows tightly. Mike gets a bad feeling. Meanwhile, Donnie treats Mike's wounds and asks him how he knows combat. He tells her he used to be in the military, just like his younger brother. As they talk, they notice how empty the village looks. Very few people live here. Professor explains that he has been to this area before. A land mafia leader named Azza wants to build the dam here. The land where the dam is planned belongs to Vijay's grandfather, the same one who died in a road accident. Professor believes that girl, Sani, worked for this mafia. Soon, many vehicles arrive. The officer tells everyone that a new bus has been arranged and they can continue their journey to Everest. But Professor becomes suspicious. He asks about Vijay. The officer only replies that he's still unconscious. He refuses to give any real information. He only repeats one line, "Your new bus is ready." Meanwhile, Azza sneaks into the house from the back to confront Vijay directly. He reveals that he offered Vijay's father money in exchange for their land, but Roy refused. Now Azza threatens Vijay's life unless he tells him where Roy is hiding. But Vijay refuses to reveal anything. Hearing Vijay refuse, Azza starts torturing him even more brutally. Meanwhile outside, Mike and the bus driver manage to fix their original bus, which means they no longer need the replacement bus the police arranged. Just then, Professor arrives and tells Mike that he has been living in this area for a long time and knows exactly what is happening. The land mafia has been forcefully taking over properties here. This time, they targeted the land owned by Roy because a big company wants to build a dam. But that dam would destroy the village and harm the people. And Vijay is Roy's son. Mike, Donnie, and Professor go to the officer and ask to see Vijay, but he refuses. Suddenly, they hear Vijay screaming from inside the house. Mike knows something is wrong. He punches the officer and runs inside, where he sees Azza torturing Vijay. Mike and the others hold Azar's men at gunpoint. Professor steps forward and tells Azza that he is a human rights activist and already informed the American embassy about everything. They could arrive any moment. Azza hates hearing this. Without hesitation, he shoots the professor right in front of his daughter. A gunfight immediately erupts between both sides. In the chaos, they manage to pull Vijay out, but Mike gets shot. Despite the injury, Mike manages to keep the bus under control. Driver Steve pushes the bus at full speed, but gunmen appear right in their path, shooting at them and wounding the driver. Even while bleeding, Mike manages to control the bus and keep them moving. At the door, Donnie fires back at Azar's men, forcing them to scatter. The group manages to escape with the bus, but Azza isn't done. He realizes these people won't stop fighting, so he orders his men to finish them. Kate is heartbroken after her father's death, and Donnie tries to comfort her. Meanwhile, she notices that the driver is severely wounded. Donnie bandages him, but realizes he won't survive. The driver insists that they leave him behind, and although no one wants to abandon him, his stubbornness forces them to move on without him. Ahead of them lies a dangerous road, extremely difficult for the bus to travel. But Mike steps forward, determined. They have to reach the Chinese border, where Vijay's father is waiting. He starts driving the bus downhill, carefully, until suddenly the engine stalls. They lose control, the balance shifts, and the bus crashes into a rock, flipping over. Fortunately, no one is seriously hurt. Meanwhile, Azza and his men race forward behind them. They come across the injured bus driver. Azza asks him where the others went. The driver refuses to speak, so Azza kills him instantly. Back at the crash site, Mike's group manages to repair and flip the bus upright using some of the debris that fell into the valley. During this time, Azza receives a message on Vijay's phone from Roy, asking about their location. Azza responds and asks where Roy is. Roy unknowingly sends his coordinates, and Azza quickly sent a biker to the location. The biker reaches a house and shoots the man inside repeatedly. But it's the wrong man. Moments later, the house explodes, killing the biker. Soon, Mike's group also arrives and sees the house burning. VJ panics, thinking his father is dead. But Roy suddenly appears from the side, safe and alive. VJ feels a huge relief. Right at that moment, Mike collapses. His gunshot wound is getting worse. Roy rushes him inside and asks his daughter to bring the first aid kit so he can treat him. Meanwhile, Azad descends into the valley with his men, right where Mike's team had repaired the bus. He learns that his biker is dead. Furious, he splits his group in different directions so they can catch the others before they reach the border. Night falls. Donnie removes the bullets from Mike's body, Kate terrified that he might not make it. But Donnie reassures her. Mike is stronger than he looks. Kate steps outside to fetch water when suddenly one of Azar's thugs ambushes her. Just as he is about to kill Kate, VJ appears from behind and eliminates the attacker, saving her life. Afterward, Donnie begins teaching Kate self-defense so she can protect herself. The next morning, Mike finally regains consciousness. Now, the group needs to get the bus across the valley using a crane positioned on the other side. Roy takes responsibility for operating the crane and tells everyone else to sit inside the bus. But suddenly, Azar's men arrive. Roy confronts them, and tragically, he is killed in the fight. Immediately, the attackers unleash heavy gunfire toward the bus. Mike rushes outside and starts taking them down one by one with precise headshots, killing every single gunman. Then he jumps into the crane's control room and sees Sandy waiting there. A fierce fight breaks out between them, and Mike manages to throw her out of the cabin. In desperation, Sandy fires a bazooka. The explosion ignites a fire and causes the tunnel platform to start collapsing. Before Mike can escape, Sandy forces her way inside the bus, and the battle resumes inside. Mike hands over the driving controls to VJ while he continues fighting the corrupt police officer who entered with Sandy. Mike defeats him and throws him out. At the same time, Donnie drives a knife into Sandy's throat and throws her off the bus as well. Finally, all their enemies there are dead, but Mike tells them the threat isn't over yet. Azza is still alive. Azza attempts to flee in a car, but Mike and the others chase him down with the bus. Mike rams Azar's vehicle, sending it flying off the cliff and into the abyss. The danger is finally over. Everyone says their emotional goodbyes. Then Mike heads to the Everest base area and scatters his brother's ashes, fulfilling his last wish and giving him peace. Later, Donnie takes Mike to the airport. Over their days together, the two had grown closer and started caring for each other deeply. Mike hugs Donnie and walks toward his flight, but moments later, he changes his mind. He rushes back outside and sees Donnie stuck in traffic. She looks up and notices him too. They smile at each other, and with that, the story comes to an end.